Hello and welcome to Alpha Militaria TV. Thanks very much for tuning in once again and seeing what we're up to. My name is Richard Saunders. Now, I have to apologise for the fact that it's been a while since I did our last review. And one of the excuses I have for that is that we've been busy working on our shop. And if you go on to alphamilitaria.com, the link is down below, you'll see what we have to sell. Now, we've been selling accessories, scopes and things for a while, but we've now added the ability to sell air rifles as well. So if you're in the market for an air rifle, check out the link below. You never know, you might find something that you like. Now then, our review today is of I guess you could just about call it a budget rifle. It's kind of creeping up into that sort of mid-price bracket, to be honest. It is the JTS Airacuda Max, and it retails for around about £549 here in the UK. It is made by JTS from KT in Texas and is imported into the UK and distributed in the UK by Lee Enfield Guns. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to, as we usually do, walk through the rifle from back to front, talk about some of the key features, then we'll zoom in on some of those key features. We'll talk about the whole magazine loading and inserting process, how to fit it with air and what have you as well. And then we'll end up on the range and see how it shoots. So the JTS Airacuda Max, I love that name. It's a full-size rifle, measures 1055mm from butt to muzzle. The barrel is 450mm long, and the weight overall is about 3.8 kilos. Now in old money, that's 41.5 inches, 17.75 inches, and about 8.5 pounds in weight. So it's a full-size rifle. Now the thing that strikes you first of all is this beautiful stock. And now I keep kind of reminding myself that this is a mid-price, almost budget rifle. And yet it's got this beautiful wooden stock on it. Now, I don't think for a second that it is walnut. I suspect it's something else, beech maybe, that's been stained to a walnut colour. But the finish is really, really good. It's completely ambidextrous. There's no burrs on it or rough parts or anything like that. And the colour is very, very even. So starting in the back, there is a solid rubber shoulder butt pad here. There's no adjustment to it at all. To be honest, you don't really need any adjustment because you have plenty of adjustment in this cheek piece. So there are a couple of screws down here which will allow you to alter the height of the cheek piece. The first screw takes it so far, then the second screw takes it a little bit further. And that obviously gives you good eye alignment to a scope. Now the pistol grip is accessed by putting your hand through this large cutout here. And even if you've got giant boxing glove hands, you can use this rifle quite comfortably. The pistol grip itself is quite slender actually, and it's quite steeply raked, so there's quite an angle to it. But it's very, very comfortable. There's patches of checkering on both sides of the pistol grip to add a little bit of grip. And you know, as I say, it's quite slim and very comfortable to use. Now you can shoot this with a thumb up position if you want to, but more comfortable, to be honest, is to wrap your hand around it. And it kind of narrows. There's like a swoop down here that sort of follows all the way down to the fore end, where it goes from this sort of thinner part of the stock through to this thicker part in the main fore end. And then underneath it narrows again to the rest of the fore end, where you get some more checkering along here. And then there's a Picatinny accessory rail at the very end for you to put a bipod or a sling attachment, for example. The trigger itself is 2 stages and is adjustable. The blade is a traditional blade rather than a post and shoe setup that we see on the same miniguns right now, and I quite like that. The blade feels quite thin, and I think that's just because I'm used to so many post and shoe triggers, but it's nicely curved and very, very comfortable too, and it has some ridges on the front here as well. As I say, it is adjustable. The first stage is nice and smooth, comes up to a very, very obvious stop. There's no kind of vagueness about it. And then with a little bit more pressure, it lets off nice and cleanly. The safety catch is a post which is located within the trigger guard itself. In this rear position, the rifle is safe, and then to make the rifle live, you simply push it forward. Now, on the plus side, it operates very, very positively. There's no, have I taken it off? Have I not taken it off? It's click, click, really nice and positive. And it is very well located to use conveniently. On the downside, it is within the trigger guard. And as you know, I'm not a big fan of safety catches within the trigger guard. But, it does work very, very well. Very obviously, this is a side lever action. The side lever has this nice long biathlon type handle here. It's 2 stages, so the first stage is sprung to pop out, then you pull it back a second stage to cock the rifle, and then you push it forward again all the way home to drive the pellet through the magazine and into the breech. Now the magazine itself, you get 2 magazines, and we'll show you these in close up in a little while. I don't think I've seen a better quality magazine on any rifle, to be honest, let alone a budget come mid-range rifle. Made of metal, completely made of metal. It's got a nice logo on it, very clear markings on it. You get 2 of these. Now it inserts into the breech from the left-hand side, and we'll show you this later. Takes 12 shots in 177 and 10 in 2.2. The scope mounting itself is a Picatinny rail. It's actually split into 2 halves with the magazine in the middle. It's not the longest rail in the world, but there's certainly plenty enough room on there for you to mount just about any kind of size of scope. And the magazine, although it mounts through the middle of the scope rail, it does so quite nice and low, so it's not going to get in the way to prevent you mounting any kind of scope on here. The barrel is fully shrouded, and in actual fact the shroud does a very good job actually of making this quite a quiet rifle to shoot. But if you're going to hunt with it and you want to make it even quieter still, you can remove this end cap to access a 1/2 inch ULF thread that you can attach a silencer to. Now obviously that's going to add to the overall length of the rifle, but as I say, if you're going to be hunting, it's probably a worthwhile thing to do. Now filling with air is achieved by unscrewing another cap on the end here, which reveals a Foster fit kind of attachment, so your air line snaps straight onto this valve here. There's no probe or anything like that to go to have to muck around with or to lose. And then obviously put that cap back on it, and we'll show you the air filling process as well. Now this rifle is fully regulated, and that's quite a big deal because regulators are usually the preserve of quite expensive rifles, but this rifle at £549 is probably one of the cheapest rifles to be fully regulated. Now if I haven't bored you to death with my explanation of a regulator before, bear with me. So think of a regulator as being like the optic on the bottom of a bottle of whiskey in a pub. So the bottle of whiskey is your main air supply, and then the regulator is the optic on the bottom. Now just with a bottle of whiskey, if the bar person pushes the optic, the bottle of whiskey, the optic allows a very specific measure of spirit to go into your glass. The same amount of spirit goes into your glass time and time again, regardless of how much whiskey is actually in the bottle overall. A regulator is a little bit like that. So the air cylinder is your bottle of whiskey, the regulator is your optic, and what it does, the regulator draws air from the main supply, regardless of how much air is in the supply, stores it under very specific consistent pressure, and uses that amount of air to power each shot. Now what that gives you is a lot more consistency from shot to shot to shot, so your variance in terms of feet per second is much less with a regulated air rifle if it's working properly. And also it's a far more efficient way of using air as well, so you'll get more shots per fill, and those shots will be more consistent, so you'll do away with that kind of power curve issue as you start to drain down the amount of air in the cylinder. Now obviously you will need to have enough air in your main supply to feed the regulator, and you can see underneath here there are a couple of gauges which will indicate the overall fill pressure in your rifle and the regulator pressure. Now the overall fill, you will start to see the needle start to go down as you take more and more shots, as you use more and more air, but the regulator pressure should stay consistently at around about 90 or 100 bar. And if you start to see that creeping up, then there's an issue with your rifle. if you start to see that dropping down, then either you've used up too much air in your overall cylinder and you need to top up, or again there's some kind of issue. Right, I think that's everything on the rifle. What we'll do now is we'll zoom in on some of those components in closer up detail. We'll talk about the magazine filling and inserting process, and we're talking about filling up with air as well. So as I said before, you get 2 magazines of the JTS Airacuda, and they're this really good quality metal design. Not only are they well made, but they're also a nice simple design as well. You can probably just see that there's an arrow here which is indicating to you the direction that you need to rotate the inner drum. And as I say, you get 2 of these with a rifle. It takes 12 shots in 177, which is what this is, and 10 shots in 2.2. And loading them is simplicity itself. You simply take it. There's no need to pre-rotate this central drum. Just take the magazine as it is, drop a pellet into the loading hole just here, push it in all the way, then rotate to the next chamber, drop another pellet in to the next chamber, and so on and so forth until you've filled up all of the magazine, all of the chambers with pellets. Dropping them in nose first, just make sure they're well seated inside, and just keep going round and round and round until you fill up the whole magazine. Obviously, if you let go of that drum, it's going to flick back to the last pellet that you put in. So it's really, really easy to use. Right, next stage, we'll show you how to insert it into the breech. Now, inserting the magazine into the JTS Airacuda is really simple. This is the bottom of the magazine, and the markings are the back of the magazine as well. So you want the magazine to go in with this logo facing to the right side of the rifle. Now, first stage is to make sure that the safety catch is on, and then pull back the side lever, and then from the left side of the rifle with the 177 or 2.2 and the arrow marking facing you, put the mag into the breech and simply push it all the way through so the logo is on the right hand side, and then return the side lever. So filling the JTS Airacuda with air is nice and straightforward. You've got this big cap on the end of the cylinder that you'll need to unscrew, and that reveals a quick fit attachment that's actually moulded into the cylinder itself. So there's no probes, there's no bungs or anything like that. Just unscrew that cap and then expose that valve there, and then take your airline, be that from a bottle or a compressor or from a stirrup pump, and simply attach that onto the end of the valve. Make sure it's nice and secure, and then give the rifle a 220 maximum bar fill. Well, that's a quick look around the JTS Airacuda Max. Next, we take it down the range and see how it shoots. Well, I'm down at the beautiful surroundings of Reading Air Target Shooting Club once again with the JTS Airacuda. I set a target out at 30 metres, and it's a little bit windy today, but not too bad. I'm using Air Arms Diablo field pellets, so let's see how we get on. So first impressions are the side lever works really well. Very smooth, cycles pellets through the magazine really cleanly as well. The trigger, it's quite a long first stage. It is adjustable. It does come up to a solid stop after the first stage and then lets off quite cleanly. But yeah, so far so good. Well, that's a full magazine. Didn't look too bad actually, but we go and see what it group like. Right, let's see how we got on. Oh yeah, that's none too shabby. A little bit low and right, but hopefully you can see there. That's what. Where are we? Come back. A little bit smaller than a thumbnail, I would say. Sort of fingernail size group anyway, and that is at 30 metres with Air Arms Diablo fills. One dropped a little bit low there, but that's 11 through one ragged hole, just low and right at the target. Well, there you go. That is the JTS Airacuda Max, and I have to say I've been very impressed with this. Bear in mind this is a £550 gun. And I'm probably sure if you shopped around, you could probably find it a little bit cheaper than that. But fully regulated, really nice finish on it as well. Looks pretty good. And as accurate as anything I've shot that costs an awful lot more. Anyway, I hope you found that useful. If you did, please don't forget to hit the like button. And if you haven't already, consider subscribing. And don't forget to check out our website, alphamilitaria.com. Thanks for watching.